T minus 60 seconds. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5 Foot Viking Podcast, where we get to drink a beer and learn something new. And today is literally just that. Hey Dad, how are you? Good to see you on here. Thanks for being here. I'm excited because I'm trying something new today, and I'm stepping a little bit outside my comfort zone, because those of you that have been following the 5 Foot Viking in the past, you know that definitely I have struggled with long comments. I'm to tell a family secret, I'm dyslexic. I'm pretty sure I'm ADHD in some way, shape, or form. But growing up, I always struggled with like comprehension and reading and stuff like that. And math and numbers were always amazing. I was really, really good at math, but English and reading was definitely a little bit of a struggle for me, and even still to this day. But it's one of those things where I can read the sentence, and by the time I get to the end of the sentence, I don't know what I just read, or I read the whole paragraph, and then I'm like, hold on, I have to go back and wait, what was going on there? So when I do the podcast, there's a lot of times that people will write really long comments, and literally as soon as I see a long comment, I always get a little bit of anxiety in my head, because I want to be able to put on a good show. I want to be able to read the comment and interact with everybody. But that's one of the things in my life that I've struggled with. So today I'm getting outside of my comfort zone. But before we jump into outside the comfort zone, let's go into, where is this? Here we go.
Beer.
You're allowed to drink beer?
Anybody got a cold beer?
Do it up again.
Another.
Yeah.
That is a beer.
Skål.
Skål, everybody. It is the beer time right now. Today, I've been on a St. Archer kick for this last couple of weeks, so I'm trying a new one today. This one is called St. Archer Citra IPA, Citra 7 IPA. I tried finding it online to send a link, but in the description, I think that the description link that's up there actually sends you to a review type page. But you can also go to St. Archer. I believe it's starcher.com, or you can Google St. Archer Brewing Company and check out all the cool stuff that they have. But today we're going to be drinking this and learning something new. And so let's get this going. Got a few people jumping on here. Thank you guys so much for jumping in. Appreciate you guys being here, spending a little bit of your Tuesday with me. I promise that today we're going to keep it pretty short today. I'm going to try and read something for you guys. That's how difficult today is going to be. But we got a few people here. My dad jumping in with his lemonade with ice. Katie Merkley, good to see you on here. Thanks for being here. My wife, Skål, definitely Skål. And Mario, how are you, buddy? Same here, bro. Reading long times. I'm lost, but I'm a successful business owner of 4 businesses and never forget my parts when playing music. I think it's ADD. Yeah, I'm with you 100% on there. I being out there on stage and stuff, and I can remember songs that I played one time 15 years ago for some reason, but sometimes I can't. I struggle with reading a paragraph out loud. So we're gonna have some fun today, that's for sure. So let's taste this beer. Mm. Oh yeah, okay. It's definitely an IPA, that's for sure. I'm, if you guys are out there, are you guys an IPA connoisseur? Do you like IPAs? I think personally, the more IPAs I've been drinking, the more I realize I like the hazy ones, the hazy IPAs. I think the full IPA is a little bit too much of a bite for me, but that's just my palate. But nevertheless, I'm still gonna enjoy this one. So like I said, at the very beginning of the podcast is designed to drink a beer and learn something new. And a lot of the times I have guests on, and I really enjoy that because I like to talk with professionals in their own right. Being a musician, I've met so many people that are just professionals in what they do, and it's been fun to learn something new about maybe something that I'm not 100% familiar with. I know a little bit about real estate, but let's talk to somebody who's a professional in that field and really dive a little bit deeper and learn something new about it. And a lot of my guests have been professionals in various fields, which I think is kind of fun. That this show is kind of like a variety show. It literally is just a variety of topics, a variety of stuff, and I'm still trying to figure out. I've only been doing this podcast now for 37 weeks, and I'm still making my way, trying to form and figure out what I want this podcast to really be about, the mission statement. I know I started off with drink a beer and learn something new, but I want to get a little bit deeper into that as well, and maybe shape how this podcast comes across. But for right now, it's been just a blast learning stuff new. And if you guys have any suggestions, I'm an open book and I love it. So if you guys have any suggestions for guests or topics or things like that, please shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I'd love to see what kind of ideas you guys have out there. So I've been toying with the idea of having a segment on the show called maybe Viking Facts, or something like that. Something to the. I want to dive a little bit more into the realm of Vikings, or things like that maybe facts that people don't really know about. So I kind of Googled a few things, and then I cross-referenced them with a few other things. And when you Google something, the first thing that comes up usually isn't the truest of things, unfortunately, with the way the internet works nowadays. But I did find this one story that I thought was really cool, and I thought it was really appropriate for today, because today, if you're here in California, we have today is like an election day. It's the last day to vote. Oh, I think it's probably over by now, but we had a way to vote yes or no on the recall of our governor, and if you did want to recall him, then you had the opportunity to cast a vote for who you wanted to succeed. And I thought that was, and when I came across this particular story, I thought it was really interesting that, and it ties in with today being an election day here in California. So what I'm going to do, and please don't laugh. I'm just kidding. You can laugh all you want. If you want to put laughing emojis up, that's fine. I'm a little nervous to do this, but it's going to be fun anyway. So, but I found this article and I wanted to read it for you guys. It's just a page and a half, and it's a story of, it says, how Vikings created modern democracy. And when I first read that title, I'm like, come on, like that's ridiculous. Because when everybody thinks of Vikings, or at least, for myself, when I started thinking about Vikings, you watch the movies and you see things like that, and you kind of just think of these guys who, these people who get on boats and go out and pillage and and steal and take, and then you have them at home and they do farming. At least that's kind of the picture that's painted in a lot of TV shows and stuff like that. So, but I never thought of Vikings have any type of influence on modern democracy. So I'm like, oh, let me go down this rabbit hole a little bit. So this article is from actually a touring company that offers tours in Norway, and I read their article and their story of how they talk about it, and then I also kind of cross-referenced it with a couple other stories from other places that talked about the same thing, but told it in different ways. And I really liked the way that this company kind of broke it down. They're called Fjord Tours, FJORD Tours, and they are in Norway. So I'm just going to go down this, and I might stop occasionally, and I might stutter a little bit, and it is what it is. But I'm going to get through this, and if you have any questions about it, I might stop a little bit through it and maybe try to understand it. But here it goes, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the 5-foot Viking trying to read a story. Let me take a drink first. Skål, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. All right. So it says, how Vikings created modern democracy. When most people think about democracy, they tend to go straight to ancient Greece. However, what many people are not aware of is the fact that fans of modern democracy can actually thank Vikings for this creation. When looking back at Norwegian history, you can see the start of what would later develop into what we know now as modern democracy. Although it had a very difficult name, the Norse thing, that's what it was called, the Norse thing, Norse thing. The Norse thing system shared a lot of similarities with many democratic systems that we see today. So let me just take a breather because that was a big paragraph. Anyways, so they had a system back then that was called the Norse thing. I'm assuming that that is what they called their democracy. What we call democracy today is what they called the Norse thing. So what was the thing? Despite their image of being barbaric savages that cared only about conquering civilizations, Vikings were so much more than that. A good example of this is the fact that most people don't even know exactly what a Viking is. Most people believe that the term Viking was used to describe all the people living in what is now Norway. However, Vikings were only a small group of these Norse people, and they were only actually classified as Vikings when conducting the aforementioned Viking activities and conquering. Otherwise, they were much more civilized societies made up of farmers and traders, and even had their own political system. So what I'm getting out of this is that Vikings is really not what we kind of call it. We kind of call it Vikings. We call everybody Vikings. Vikings from that area are just the people from that area. But it seems like Vikings were a certain small group of people that only did certain things at certain times, and most of the time they were farmers and traders, and they had their own political system. The political system was known as the Thing, capital T, Thing, the Thing, and was an early version of what later became democracy. The Thing was conducted at local level, with each community having its own system. The Thing was designed to be a system where individual issues would be brought forth in the community and addressed in an inclusive setting, so that everyone could voice their opinion on the matter. So I think of this like local elections, like what I did today when I took my ballot and I went to my polling station. That was my local level place. Now I'm assuming that this was much different back then, when it's not as grand as it is now, where we have hundreds, thousands, of people that are going, and we all have to go to these little places. This seems more like a town meeting where people would get together and everybody voiced their opinions about certain things. And it says, let's move on. I think I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm doing all right. I'm a little nervous, but Is everybody getting this so far? I hope you are. And it says how the thing works. Unlike similar Greek systems, the thing actually allows certain females to participate in the system as well as conduct business on a much smaller scale so that everyone had a chance to be heard. Each meeting would involve a specific person who operated as a law speaker and was in charge of keeping mental track of the previous legal proceedings precedents that's set by previous things. So I guess they didn't really write a whole lot of stuff down. They just there was one guy in charge of remembering everything. That would not be me, unless it was songs. If it was songs, I'd be in charge of that. There would also be a local chieftain who was responsible for helping make the final decision. So I'm assuming that there's that reminds me of maybe one dude that's in charge of everything and he's got the final say, maybe some type of judge, and then there's other people that would take part in the decision-making process of that. A dispute would then be brought forth and be heard in front of the entire community of free men. They would then get the chance to voice their opinion on the matter and unofficially cast their vote as to who they thought would be held liable for the trouble that had been caused. The final ruling would then be delivered by the chieftain and law speaker, who were often heavily influenced by wealthy and powerful families. So I'm assuming that those two people are probably the richest dudes in the land, the richest dudes in their area, and that's why they have those titles. If something needed to go higher up on the food chain, then it could be brought up at a more prestigious thing, capital T, that often covered multiple tribes. So I guess that would mean it would go up to the regional level, go to something that's a little bit bigger of a thing than just the local level. The systems of giving everyone a chance to vote themselves was a great example of direct democracy and spawned further developments of the democratic system. When the Vikings weren't busy being democratic, they did, quote unquote, go Viking, meaning traveling for purposes of trade and pillage. And then it says, we'd like to invite you all to go Viking in Norway without the pillaging part. We'll see you guys at an adventure near us. So I thought that was a pretty interesting fact. A great little story talking about democracy and how the Vikings had some influence in it from way back, which, I think that's pretty interesting. So anyways, I'm toying with the idea of integrating maybe a smaller fact, because a page and a half, unfortunately for me, it takes a little bit longer to read than most people. But let me know what you think about that segment. I'd love to do something that is like a Viking fact segment, even something small, even something as small as, did you know that Vikings used to drink this beer? I don't know. That'd be kind of good stuff. But anyways, I think I did okay. What do you guys think? Did I do all right? I think I got through most of it, a couple stutters here and there, but I'll be honest with you. I'm going to integrate this more because I want to become I want to become a more efficient reader. I'd like to learn how to do that better. So anyways, I think that's something I'm going to put in here and have regularly. So if I messed up too much, I apologize, but you may not want to listen to the very beginning of the 5 Foot Viking podcast, but I learned something new and I thought it was a pretty cool story, and it definitely ties in well with today. And for all of you guys who are listening out there and you're in California and you went to the polling stations, whether you are a Democrat or Republican or whatever, I just, the fact that you got out there and you expressed your right to get out there and have your voice said, I think that's pretty cool. That's a good thing. Capital T. So, I love this. We got a couple people. My wife, you did great. Thank you, baby. My dad, see, it's all the family that's like, you did great. Viking fact of the week. I vote yes. I like that. And my good friend, Mr. Edgar Namrock, very good. You sounded like the narrator from the Wonder Years. Good stuff, man. It's all in the presets with the mic. That's what makes, trust me, the mic makes my voice sound much better. But I I appreciate you guys being here and taking a listen. Anyways, like I said at the beginning, I wanted to keep this podcast nice and short. I've got some homework that I got to get to, but I thought it would be fun to get outside my comfort zone, try something new, read something, and see how well that went. But I'm looking forward to integrating this into the 5 Foot Viking podcast. And also, if you guys have any comments or suggestions on directions that the podcast can go, I still feel like my podcast is really in the infant stages. I'm still, quote unquote, trying to find myself. And I think I have something good here. I think I have something fun. I think I have something that's interactive and that people can get behind. And I'm looking forward to seeing what can happen with the podcast. And I really want to know your input and what you think, some directions and some ideas. And I'd really appreciate that. So with that being said, I love you guys. I'm going to get out of here. You guys are amazing. And thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. Skull. And I think this is how you end it.